Hey Planner Pals, and welcome back to Planning with Maggie Ray, where we go through ways to go from being busy to being productive. I'm Rachel, and today we're going to go through my 2020 bullet journal setup. But before we go, remember to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Starting a bullet journal doesn't have to be hard. All you have to do is make sure that you pick spreads that are really going to make a difference for you. So you're probably going to want to include a future log as well as an index, but from there, really the possibilities are endless. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what I chose to do for my 2020 setup. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here is inside my 2020 bullet journal setup. Started off with a quick cover page, Don't Let Hindsight Be 2020. It was just the perfect pun. I couldn't pass it up. The first elements that most people include in a bullet journal, and obviously myself as well, is your key. So these are going to be little icons that you can use while you're rapid logging. So they denote specific events that are reoccurring. Because obviously there's quite a few holidays. You're going to have appointments, tasks, events that come up, things that are important. So things that regularly occur, if you have them as a quick little key, an icon that you can jot down really quickly, then it'll make writing those things in a lot easier. On the next page here, I have a quick year at a glance. Now, this is probably the hardest page to set up. I've done this a couple of times in a couple of different years, and I've messed up a date and then had to go in and erase everything and start it again. But if you do it properly, it's super, super helpful in my opinion. You can see which months are busy and why they're busy. So if you see in March here, I have a lot going on. It's busier than most other months. We've got March break, we've got like 6 birthdays, we've got a couple of holidays and things to remember as well. So I know that that month's really busy. By contrast, you can look down in July and August, our summer, and literally nothing is going on so far. So I know that those are good months to book trips or do things a little out of the ordinary because I'll have lots of time to focus on them. A quick note on this year at a glance is that I like to color code specific events that happen pretty often. And so you'll see my key, there's a couple of little dots on the side. So birthdays are always in blue. So you can see blue birthdays. Holidays are in purple. So you can see them kind of throughout the year as well. And then events that are coming up, I have all over the place too. So I know why the month is busy. Once again, just at a glance. The future log is something that you're probably going to want to include as well. It's so helpful. It's a huge way for you to future plan. Now, a bullet journal is different than a regular planner or agenda because you make it as you go. So if you're starting in March, you're not going to have a page for May or September or anything else. So having these spots in here where you can write things down that are going to be happening in the future allows you to stay on top of those things. So I have that color code carry over into these months as well. So these little calendars are pretty much the exact same as you would see at my year at a glance. I just transfer them over. And then I've got more details about what's going on under the calendar here. Now, as the month goes on or as something else pops up, I can write it into these sections so that I can keep them at the forefront, you know. So if I have something, if it's February right now, and I have something coming up in April, I can write it in here. And then when April comes up, I'll know what's going on and I can include that in my monthly setup. With your future log as well, you can do 1 page per month, 2 months per page. You can do 3, 4. It's really up to you and how much you think is going to be going on. Next, I always like to include some annual goals. So these are big picture things that I want to have happen throughout the year. And then I like to break them down into quarterly goals as well. And so I have certain milestones that I want to hit throughout the course of the year. And if I'm on track with this, then I'm going to be able to hit these big goals as well. I have a couple of quick trackers as well. I'm obviously building my own online business now. So I'm keeping track of the different streams of income that I have in each month so I can better plan for next year. I also have a recruiting business, so I've got the months and how much I'm going to be making. I can fill in here with my total revenue, income, and then money that I'm putting into savings. I have another couple of pages with more statistics that I want to keep an eye on. So I've got stats in terms of social media followings and page views and sessions on my website as well. Of course, if you want to check it out, you can at www.planningwithmaggieray.com. I would love that. And on the other side, I do have some projects and promotions that I'm going to be working on. So this is going to be a little bit more of a planning page as the year goes on. Next, I have something that's a little bit more fun. Personally, I really like style and fashion, so I've been trying to update a lot of my wardrobe because some of it I've literally had since I was like 16, and I'm not 16 anymore, so some of those things do need a little bit of a change. So I decided to decide on some colors that I really want to stick to in my wardrobe that make me feel really good and will be really versatile. So I went ahead and picked out some colors and threw them in here, and want to make sure that I stick with this while I'm building up outfits and a little bit more of like a capsule wardrobe in the future. To go with that, I do have a list of things that I want to get, along with what I want to spend on each item and then what I actually will spend on each item. So this way, when I'm planning, I can be like, okay, I'm willing to spend $20 on something. And look, I only spent $17. So if I found something that was under $20, I felt really good about buying it. So if you're looking to make some big changes or save up towards something that's kind of like piecemeal, then this is a great way to do it. Put in a budget for each item that you want to get. And then if you know that it's under that, you find it for less, then you know it's a good buy and you should do it. I love adding quotes pages into my bullet journal every once in a while as well, and this one I thought just made some sense. So the best time for new beginnings is now, and that's really any time of the year. Some of you might also be familiar with my 30-60-90 plan, so I made one for the first 3 months of the year here. You can definitely check an upcoming video that I'm going to be posting about how to do one yourself. I also have a great post online that you can check out too. The link will be in the description box below. This year I am part of a book club as well. We already picked the 6 books that we're going to be going through, so I made a little book club page here. I wrote down the titles of each one and the month that we're going to be reading them in or meeting and discussing them. So I can put the takeaways from each book in here so that I have a little kind of memory pages on what I've learned through this throughout the course of the year. P.S. If you're not in a book club, you should totally get in a book club. They're awesome. Shameless plug. Over the past year, I've also been on a little bit of a fitness journey. So I have really been focusing on building muscle and strength back because I felt like I was really fit when I was younger and then I wasn't so much in the past couple of years. So I wanted to have somewhere that I could write down what I was lifting and then see the difference later on, so I can write that in this spot here. I also wrote down some quick measurements as well. I also do a lot of like sewing and stuff, so I needed to know how big I was, and that's more what this is for rather than me trying to change this necessarily. On this page, I decided to set up a workout split just for the first 3 months of the year, and then back in, or I guess in March, I will update that just to keep things a little bit fresh, but make sure that I'm hitting everything that I want to as well. This is actually going to be going into I'll show you really quick. It goes into my weekly setups because I can put the number for the workout that I was doing and then check off if I did it or not. Alright, so there were all of the setups that I had in my 2020 bullet journal setup. Now, remember, you don't have to do all of these, and you can do things that are totally different. This is meant to give you some ideas, some inspiration, and some guidance on what it is that you want to include. And remember, it doesn't have to be January for you to start. That was honestly my biggest mistake when I was going to start my first journal. I waited until the new year. So if it isn't January anymore when you're watching this video, go ahead anyway and start your journal today. Great. So thanks so much for being here with me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more content like this, make sure to give it a like and subscribe. And please, I'd love for you to leave a comment. Which one of these spreads would you be most likely to try to include in your bullet journal setup?